Hello, this is Kabo, and this is a tutorial on making a cave spider trap. So, to begin with, before we actually get into building the trap, let's talk about spawners, just so that everybody's clear on how they work. So we have a cave spider spawner here, and you notice there's glass and red wool. This glass and red wool volume represents the volume in which cave spiders are allowed to spawn. Outside of here, they will not spawn. And you'll notice that this volume is not distributed the same on all sides. You can see it's 3 on this side, 3 on this side, but it's 4 on these sides. That's because it's an 8x8, and since it's an even number, it can't be centered exactly on the spawner. Now, this 8x8x3 is longer in the x minus the negative x direction and the negative z direction. So if we look at the debug screen, that's where f is 2 or f is 1. And an easy way to identify this is if you have stone break, you see there's a line, a short line here. If you have this short line on the left, then it's the top right corner. So that's an easy way to identify the direction. Anyway, now you'll also notice there's orange lines here and a green box. So what these represent are the areas, the volume in which the spawner will check for other cave spiders before spawning. If it finds more than 6 cave spiders in this, it won't spawn cave spiders. So basically, what you want to do is you want to move the cave spiders outside of these orange lines. They have to get into this green area or further. This green area is actually still probably not safe because they can go over the edge. So ideally you'd want them to move outside of this green area. And once they do that, the cave spider spawner will continue to spawn. But it will only spawn while the player is within a 16-meter radius, which is represented by this cyan wool. Of course, this radius is just a circle, but it's in the game a sphere as well. So if you imagine a sphere with that radius, that's where the player can be for the spawner to be active. And you can demonstrate that by moving closer or further from the spawner. And so I have a spawner over here. If I move close enough to it, you see the particle effects start. If I move far enough away, they stop. And to demonstrate that it's a sphere, as you can see I'm close to it now, but if I just go straight up, the particle effects stop, and if I go down, they'll start again. So that's all that is, and that's pretty much all you need to know about how the spawner works. Just some things to keep in mind. So if you want it to work, you have to stay within the cyan area. If you want it to continue to spawn after spawning 6, you have to move them outside into or outside of this green box, ideally outside because they can step over the edges of these blocks and affect the spawning inside. And your spawner will only spawn within this glass and red wool area. Okay, so let's get to actually building the spawner and the trap. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our spawner. What we want to do is build a box that's 2 below. Let's put some torches up. So we want 2 air spaces below, so our floor will be here. And we want 1 airspace above, so our ceiling will be here. Now, for simplicity's sake, we're going to go out 4 in each direction. This particular spawner doesn't really need to go all the way down to 8. We can go make a 9x9 instead. So we'll go out 4 in each direction. So we'll have a wall here, a wall here, a wall here, and a wall here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and build the room and show you when I'm done. Okay, so now we've got our box built. It's a 11 by 11 by 6 box. It contains all of the spider spawning area. Of course, it's not the smallest size box that we can make, but that really doesn't matter too much. I guess it could matter a little bit, but since we're relying on the spiders tracking the player to get out of the box rather than really pushing them with water, we're going to use water, but I mean, the main thing that will get them out is the fact that they're going to be following us. So we need to actually determine where the player is going to be. That's the most important part. So let's get out. Now let's say we want the player to be over here. Well, unfortunately, if we just stand here, what will happen is spiders in the box will try to come towards us. And they'll move towards us, but say one spawns here, he comes over here. If he happens to climb up this wall and go into the ceiling, he might sit here and just keep looking at us and not move. And this can actually happen with all of them. And if enough of them jam up, then they'll even prevent each other from going through a hole. So we can't really put the hole here. What we have to do is instead go over to one of the corners. And the reason why the corners will work is because if they come over to the corner, this wall will help align them so that they go out easily through this exit. So let's close that up and open this up. Let's open it all the way up to the floor. The reason we want to go all the way to the floor rather than just one hole here is because sometimes the spiders will just climb up here or crawl over here, and instead of climbing up, they'll just sit here or jump up and down a little bit, and they won't go up into this hole. So we'll open it all the way up, and now the spiders will track us and they'll come out of this tiny slit. Okay, but how can we encourage them to come out? It's actually a pretty simple process. By standing here, they'll pretty much come to us on their own. We could even put stair steps, and they'll pretty much follow the steps up to get us, as long as it's not too confusing or turning in weird directions or anything like that. But we can use water streams to encourage them to do it even faster. It's very easy. Basically, you just put a water stream or a stair here, a couple of blocks, another stair, and now in front of here we'll put a sign to hold in the water. Put our water here. It needs to have at least one block space so that it can start flowing in the direction we want it to go. And then we have another stair here, and we just copy this as far as we need to go. So it will basically look something like this. And as you can see, it's basically the same thing we had before, just copied 3 times, and it comes out. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you do this, when you get to this 4th level, if you don't want to stop here, so I mean you could stop here because you're outside of that area. So let's see, this is 5, so 6, 7, 8. So you'd want to be at least right here or further. And since we're already outside of that, we're fine as far as spider spawning goes. We could stop, but say you wanted to go further or and go up some more. If you put a stair upside down here for your next level, so let's say we have it go out over here. When the spiders flow up into here, they won't go backward. And the reason that they won't go backward is because when they're in the water here, they're constantly fighting against the current and swimming upward. So they're swimming upward, and as a result, they can't go past this half block part of the stair, and then can't go backward in the stream. Now, unfortunately, we can't use that down here, and the reason is because we want all of this to be open. If we want to catch spiders for this entire height, we can't have any blocks in the way. So imagine if we had a stair here, and a spider, instead of coming down from the bottom, came up through the top. He would just get stuck here, and he'd hang out here forever and wouldn't move, and he'd just keep looking at you. And yeah, so leave all of this clear up to the top here, and then you can start using the upside down stairs. That's just the way to get them out and get them moving along. Now once you have them here, once they get to this point, you can take them wherever you want, basically, because they can't really fight this. You can have them go up wherever, as long as you're standing in the direction so that they get here. That's all that you need to worry about. Once you do that, you can stick as many paths however you want and take them wherever you want to get to a destination. Now, we want to help the spiders to get to this point as well. We don't want them to just hang out in here and sit around, and even sometimes they'll try to track you, but they'll just sort of, stop here. They won't go up the steps. Well, in those cases, what we want to do is simply put water in here on this bottom level, and it will just, it doesn't really do anything except help them along, because if you have a guy here and another guy comes along and they're tracking, they'll push each other in, so that's not a big deal. But to speed things along, you can just put water along either of the walls opposite that corner. So let's use this wall, for example. Put it along the wall here, and then go to the corner of the wall that you didn't use. So we would use this one, and then put one in. Now, there are no dead spots, except for right in front of the stairs. So all the spiders get pushed to the stairs, and will hopefully get pushed up. If you really want them to go in here and get pushed along, you can make this one smaller, but as I said, it's probably not necessary. So, see, I'm on creative, so he's not tracking me. But he goes over here, and then as soon as another spider comes along, he'll definitely get pushed in there. Let me turn off the light so we can see. So yeah, another spider. Yeah, didn't even need another spider. He already went up. Once he gets past that stair, he's not going anywhere else. Let's watch it. So yeah, they'll move along pretty much on their own anyway, just because of their own activity. As long as you're standing in this direction, right? If you're over here, they'll actually fight the current and just stay inside. They're actually strong enough to fight it. But otherwise, they'll move in the direction you want, and you can take them wherever you want. And as you can see, they come out pretty easily. No problem there. Alright, so I'm going to turn off spiders for a bit. Now we'll build the collection area. So let's say we want to collect the spiders right here. This is very easy thing to do. So we'll have our water stream pushing the spiders along, and then they'll collect over here. So what we want to do is we want to have an airspace right above that hole. And what this airspace does is it will cause the spiders to climb up, and then when there are more than one, they'll push against each other and they'll stick inside this hole. What I like to do is put a iron bar on top, and then another on the bottom. So the one on top, if you can see, you can look down, and if there are spiders here, you can hit them. And it's the same from the bottom, and also the hole in the bottom allows their drop to come out, and then you can collect it. So let me open this up, and then I'll close up the rest of it and turn on spider spawning again. Now, just to show you how it works, I'm going to go into survival mode. So let me get a place to stand first. Now we'll switch it back and go to survival. And I'll wait a bit. So I'll get back to you once some spiders have collected. Okay, some spiders spawned. As you can see, they're tracking. And as soon as they get to this corner, they start to climb up and get funneled in by the water streams. And then once they start to collect, they'll start pushing against each other, and eventually will go up into this hole. Now, you see they're bouncing around, but this isn't actually a problem. They're all up in the top there. It just looks like they're on the ground, or on this iron bar, but they're not. It's just something to do with the way SMP works, I guess. They're sort of glitchy in that respect. But otherwise, they're working exactly as expected. They're going into this water stream, no problem. Once they get past the stairs, they can't flow back, so let me fly over here and switch to survival again so they start tracking. So as you can see, if I'm over here in survival, they'll track me strong enough that they'll actually fight the current and not go up. But if I'm over here, pretty much as soon as I get in, they'll push each other along, and then once they get past that stair, there's no way out for them. They can't do anything. They can't even come back. So really, you only have to stand here and they'll push each other through, but if you're standing over here, they'll just go through even faster. Anyway, that's really all there is to the collection point and the water passages. Now let's talk about killing them. So spiders only have 6 hearts, which means 12 hits with your punch, or 2 hits with an iron sword. So it's very easy to kill them. But to make it even easier, you can also add a crusher. And adding a crusher is extremely easy. You can put it on a timer or not, whatever you want. Let me just open this up. Spiders fly everywhere. So we'll put our crusher right here. Let's use stone brick is fine. What we need is 2 sticky pistons and a lever. So the sticky pistons will go here and here. We'll put a block here, and then our lever can go here. So now, you might be wondering why we have 2 and not just 1. Well, it's so that the glass block can extend and stop any more spiders from coming through, as also prevent spiders from falling down. So I'll show you how that works. Basically, we'll need to count 11 hits of damage, and then they should be 1-hit kills. So I'll let these spiders come in first, just so that we're not what are they doing? I don't know. Anyway, spiders come in. Okay, so now flip the switch and count 11 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, so now all of these spiders should be 1-hit kills. Well, the one that came in obviously isn't. Very easy, just like that. And that's really all there is to it. You can put a repeater timed to do 11 hits of damage, or 11 points of suffocation damage, but it really isn't easy or necessary since they have so little life. And that's all there is to building a spider spawner trap. Okay, one final word I wanted to say about using fall damage to damage the spiders. Now, it's certainly possible. You can do fall damage to bring them down to half a heart, but the problem is going up is hard. It takes a long time. It's not nearly as efficient of just collecting them in one place and then using a crusher. I know crushers can be inconsistent sometimes, but I mean, compared to inefficiency and also in this particular spiral staircase design, they get stuck in the corners and they drown. I'm sure there are other designs, like if you spread it out more, they wouldn't drown and they might go up faster, but really, to have them go such a long distance just to get to a fall damage trap probably isn't worth it. You might find it worth it. It's up to you. Just wanted to mention that because there'll probably be somebody who brings it up. Anyway, that's all. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.